You alright guys, welcome back to Gaming and Console Tech. Now, I've had a fair few issues with wires and other bits and pieces for retro stuff. As you guys well know, I'm using a flat screen LED TV for my retro consoles. Now, using composite isn't ideal, and let's face it, it's shit, basically. What you're seeing from your perspective with a composite video is essentially what the computer's displaying, but there's loads and loads of shit in between what you're seeing and where the computer is on the screen. And this annoys me because not only does it make the games look crap, it also makes, well, a lot of blur. Motion blur when your character's moving, motion blur for the surroundings that actually surround you in the game. This has been apparent for a while, and I've been trying to work out what my best bet is. Sorry. Here in the UK, we got two options to solve this problem with retro consoles. We've had this since the Mega Drive. If you're in the US, Genesis, or the SNES. Now, as far as I'm aware, it wasn't available over here before that because, well, I don't know, because that's it. Because now, the problem with this is the fact that it gives you too many options to try and think which is the better one. And that is where I'm hoping this video is going to help a lot of people. Now, for a while, for my PS2, my Xbox, and also my Wii, which that might come across as a little weird, but for my Wii I've been using composite video. Now for the Wii it looks alright in composite video because the console was designed around that input. That's what came with the console. But even on the likes of a LED TV, because LED is a fairly new format, obviously before that you had LCD and plasma, LED came out after those. And it was meant to improve the picture, but only if you're using basically an HD input of some sort or a clearer input of some sort. Now, a lot of computers before this generation came with composite. That includes the Xbox 360 and PS3. God forbid why, but they did. And that is what this is, which is the red, white and yellow. Now, it works, it does, but between you seeing what's on the screen to, well, from this to your TV, through that wire you are seeing a lot of crap. And when I say crap, I mean visual, technical crap. It just doesn't work for the image if you're using an HD TV. It looks slightly better on a plasma, but not by much at all, not by any means. Now, this is my problem that I've had. I've been trying to work out which is the better. Now, over here we got RGB SCART, which was used, you've been able to use it since the Mega Drive, I believe the NES as well. The original Nintendo Entertainment System was prone for using it. As far as I'm aware, you had that option. But now that obviously a lot of TVs aren't kind of supporting SCART anymore, it's kind of making it awkward for retro gamers who want a decent feel from their retro games, and that is where this is going to help you. Like I said, this in general isn't the best video quality you can get. A lot of people have covered this, so I'm not going to go too much into it. It just puts a lot of crap in between the screen and the console from what you're seeing in between it. Completely different thing when you turn around and say, oh, the graphics are bad. The graphics aren't bad, it's more the fact of what you're seeing on your TV is the crap that's getting transferred through the wire. And basically, there's two things you can solve it with. One of them is RGB, which I actually use for my PS1 to my LED plasma telly. It is only a small telly as well, which makes things a little easier because it doesn't have to stretch out the image or anything like that. It just shows up properly. But I'm using RGB for my PS1. I was also using it for the PS2, and I'm currently using it for my original Xbox, but that will change as of today because I have this. This being the other option from RGB, and that is component. Now, this is, if you're looking for better quality, this, in my view, not to everybody's view, it's not aimed at anybody saying that you're wrong, this is my better option. Now, as with all cables, you've got audio cables. Now, I'm using a splitter, a component splitter for this, and I will show you that later. But this is the audio, which is just your standard stereo audio. These are what matter. Now, this kind of splits your image up into basically the three frequencies or whatever you need to actually make it show up a lot better. With these and RGB, it shows up crystal clear and better. This is my new Xbox cable, which will be getting hooked up through the splitter. I already have my Wii and my PS2 hooked up via component, and they look beautiful. It's that simple. This is going to solve most of my problems with that TV, because, yeah, I've tried other options, one being an HD, well, 1080p upscaler. Didn't work very well, put it that way. It kind of skewered my screen so that it was shifted to the side. That's something to do with the resolution of the telly and the console. That's nothing to do with the wire, but because it's upscaling it to HD, it doesn't make that any easier at all. So yeah, that's my option for them. Now, I'm not saying anybody's wrong for using RGB. RGB is great. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm using it currently for my PS1 because PS1 doesn't support component. In fact, interesting fact, if you put a component cable hooked up to a PS2 into, obviously, your component inputs in the back of your telly, if you put a PS1 game into that PS2, it won't play because the resolution doesn't show up. It can't basically display that resolution. So yeah, it's a pain in the neck. That's why I have a PS1 and why I'm using a component cable for my PS2. But this is, in my view, the better option. Now, for the original Xbox, they're cheap as chips, honestly. They're nothing. This one, you can get between 5 and 8 quid. No, it's not that big a deal. For the PS2, they're more than readily available. The Wii, exactly the same. Here in the UK, unfortunately, you can use these with the GameCube, but they're expensive, just like everywhere else. It was only Nintendo that made them. There was no third-party option. The console actually has a lockout inside it for this. Unless you have the right input, which is like a little block on the end, it won't do anything. And here in the UK, we didn't even get that option. If you can use them, but it won't do anything for your display. So yeah, that is what I'm going to be using, and hopefully that will be bingoed for what I need. But I'm going to switch you over now and show you what I've got going on and why I need these cables to display everything. Alright, so bear with me guys and I shall sort it out. You're right guys, right, I'm going to show you now what's actually going on behind this little LED telly. Now, like I said, component is your best bet, honestly. RGB, just as good, doesn't matter. I'm not saying anybody's wrong, that's just life. And I look like an elf. What's going on there? My ears like pointing outwards. Anyway, but behind here is this, which is my component splitter, which is mounted on the wall going into this telly. And this one is my PS2, which is up there, which is getting replaced today. So I've just got a slim. And also my Wii component cables. Now the other inputs are at this side, which is where my Xbox is going to go. My Xbox is currently, let's shift it over there, in front of that, just move that. Along with my Wii, and honestly it's a good setup. It's just trying to get it perfected so that it all works, and it is quite a pain in the neck, to be honest, but in the long run it's going to be worth it if I can get a better picture out of it. So yeah, hopefully that will be sorted soon. I've also got another video for you guys of an unboxing. Basically, it's not a brand new unboxing, but it's an unboxing nonetheless, and that is a Slimline PS2, which is going to replace that one up there, because that one, it works, it's just deciding whether it wants to read the black discs for the PS1, because it's awkward. But yeah, so I'll sort that out for you guys, and hopefully it should be cool. See you in a bit, guys. See you in the next video.